What is going on, world? Welcome back once again. My name is ZacNovak and this is ZacNovak Plays Games, or Big ZacNovak. Actually, no, today it's called Lag Out Novak, simply because, well, this kept happening. So, yeah, couldn't really actually get on to do XUR'S video until now. Hopefully it doesn't actually kick me. Let us roll the intros, get straight into it, and I do hope you certainly enjoy. Alrighty, so getting straight into the video. This one is pretty much live, a little bit of editing after I do finish it, just so there's music and stuff behind it that you guys can actually hear. But at the moment we're going to go check out the good old tentacled bastard chilling at the tower in the tower hangout behind dead orbit. Fingers crossed the tentacled jerk has something good. Alrighty, well, XUR this week actually is pretty different. Let's start things off with the worm god XUR'S for the hunter or huntress. Try that again, actually. Let us start things off with the worm god XUR'S for the titan. 23 legendary shards for this exotic with unique perks. Main perk actually being burning fists. Melee kills increase melee damage for a period of time. Additional kills extend duration and effects. I will honestly state this thing can actually be fairly useful in the crucible and vilely actually average in PvE up against regular adds. This thing can come in handy, and it does actually look fairly different and unique aesthetically. Its secondary perks are as followed. We got fusion rifle loader, we got hand cannon loader, and we've also got impact induction, as well as, but not limited to, we've got ourselves sniper rifle scavenger and machine gun scavenger. So not too bad of rolls and not too bad of perks, I guess. 23 legendary shards for the worm god XUR'S. Next up we've got ourselves the sun breakers, or as they call them, sun bracers. Now these things were a D1 into D2 type of evolution. 23 legendary shards for this exotic for the warlock that actually is pretty exotic, although it's not that exotic, its main perk actually being pretty exotic though. It actually is helium spirals. Increase the duration of solar grenades, and solar melee kills grant unlimited solar grenade energy for a brief time. Honestly, it actually is, I think, about 6 that you can throw, but anyway, having abilities to actually be able to throw more than one grenade actually is pretty decent, especially if the trade-off is just a solar melee kill. This thing in itself is pretty OP in a lot of places, even PvP. But secondary perks are as followed. We got fusion rifle loader, hand cannon loader, and impact induction, as well as, but not limited to, we got ourselves sniper rifle scavenger and machine gun scavenger. This thing in itself is pretty basically, pick it up if you have not got it. It honestly is a good staple for warlocks. Moving on, next up we got ourselves the dragon's shadow chest plate for the hunter or huntress. 23 legendary shards for this fairly, I guess, unique, very aesthetically pleasing looking armor, but actually having some pretty good perks in itself as well. We've got ourselves Wraith Metal Mail. Dodging reloads all weapons and increases both movement and weapon handling speeds for a brief time. This thing in itself, if you are a good PvP player and you have good reaction time, this thing can come in handy very, very hardcore. In most cases in PvE, it actually is still fairly viable being able to reload all your weapons and moving that slight bit quicker. This thing in itself is definitely above average. Secondary perks on it are as followed: unflinching bow aim, unflinching fusion rifle aim, and unflinching kinetic aim. As well as, but not limited to, we got ourselves scout rifle reserves and special ammo finder, which honestly is pretty nice on a chest plate. I like this thing. Hopefully you guys too. Pick it up for 23 legendary shards if you have not got it. But next up, and finally, we've got ourselves the Sky Burner's Oath, the exotic scout rifle for 29 legendary shards that actually is fairly OP, especially against Cabal. Now its main perk actually is a slug rifle. This weapon lobs large explosive seeking slugs when firing from the hip. When you're aiming down the sights, the slugs travel fast and straight with higher damage and a lower rate of fire. This thing in itself is literally a pretty awesome scout rifle, having full auto just built into it, and having the ability to actually, if you fire from the hip, have seeking actual explosive lobbed things. This thing is pretty cool, with a secondary perk being for the Empire. This weapon is full auto, does extra damage to Cabal, and penetrates Phalanx's shields. Penetrates. Yes, that in itself is a fairly good perk. Honestly, this thing is pretty beastly. Pick it up if you have not got it. 29 legendary shards. But moving on, next up, the consumables. We've got the 5 swords. These allow you to make your nightfalls that have challenges more challenging by adding challenging challenges and modifiers on top of already challenging nightfalls to make them more challenging and have more challenging modifiers that allow you to have more challenging actual outcomes. Meaning you get a higher score having a lot of these things equipped with the 5 of Swords challenge card. Pick it up if you have not got it. It makes your challenging nightfalls more challenging by adding challenging challenges. But next up and finally, we've got ourselves the Isochronal Engram, the ICE, also known as a Fated Engram. 97 legendary shards for an exotic that'll decrypt into an exotic that you don't actually own unless you have all exotics from the actual loot pool before Warmind. In itself, I will actually state this thing can come in handy from time to time if you are looking for certain armors that actually have some good actual rolls. We get ourselves this week the Kepri's Horn. Okay, I haven't had that in quite some time on my Titan. Surprisingly, that could be good. We got bow targeting and shotgun reserves. We've also got ourselves remote connection for sniper. That in itself actually is pretty nice. We've also got power weapon targeting. Not too bad. We got shotgun reserves and machine gun reserves. Okay, I'm definitely going to keep this because it just looks pretty freaking cool. Reminds me of a Digimon, and as well it actually has some fairly decent perks. So anyway, this has been XUR'S location and inventory for the weekend. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed. If you have, click that like button down below. Let me know, did you get anything from XUR? Was it something useful? Was it something you didn't actually have? If you got the Isochronal Engram, aka the Fated Engram, was there anything good in said engram? Did you actually get with some good rolls on it? I myself surprisingly did this week. In itself, I was definitely surprised. I was kind of expecting a weapon. But anyway, this has been XUR'S location and inventory for the weekend. This has been ZacNovak. Do all that good stuff, and I'll be cheering like Karen ever he was Ed Sheeran. But until next time, share this video around because it certainly helps out the channel, helps out you guys, and helps out other people to actually see where XUR'S location and inventories actually are. But once again, this has been ZacNovak. Until next time, this is ZacNovak. Signing off. Peace out.